right, everybody ready to go? Leo. All right, good morning, everybody. Appreciate you being here. Kind of wrapping up Saturday's game. I was really pleased with the overall outcome of how we finished. We talked to the guys throughout last week, is really wanting to come out and get to a fast start. I know I mentioned that in my post game, and I thought it couldn't have played much better. There in the first quarter. I love the energy, love the intensity, the execution. I think our first offensive drive was 14 plays. Did a great job, mix and run and pass. Being able to jump out to that lead. Second quarter, had some adversity, some mishaps that happened really on both sides, and it wasn't as clean as it needed to be. As we were going through that, you look at the last 2 minutes of the first half. Obviously gave up a touchdown. You weren't able to get things in our 2-minute drive. Took a negative on the first play. Decided to go to the half, and then the opening kickoff, the second half was about as bad of a start as we could have. But like I said, there it's Saturday, I was really pleased with the response, and for the defense not to give up a point in the second half. It wasn't ultimately the cleanest play that we had. There's still some details and some things that we got to clean up. That we were able to address yesterday, but to not give up a point offensively, to really be able to finish the game. Doing a great job in the run game. Guys were really battling up front. Thought we saw great physicality. Up front, tight ends, running backs, and the way that they ran, and then the receivers, I thought showed up really big. Keon Coleman, I pointed him out to the team yesterday. I thought he had 2 huge blocks on the long touchdown runs by Trey Benson. That those are the things that you just you really celebrate. Just that type of play. With how what guys are doing without the ball in their hands. And but I was pleased with our team. I thought they responded well. I thought we were very efficient in what we did offensively. Throughout the course of the game, I did a good job. We're over 50%. When you look at the 3rd and 4th down, conversions, how we look at that. Being able to extend drives defensively, great response in our 3rd downs. We did have a couple 4th down conversions that you got to be able to clean up and keep them in those longer yardage situations. But I thought our guys played hard. I thought they played tough throughout, and was definitely happy to get the victory. It sets up for another conference home game. It's going to be an early start there Saturday, and we're excited about it. And I know we're going to have an incredible crowd. Encourage everybody to get here early and get ready to roll. This is our fan base is incredible. Makes such a wonderful impact to the game, and we're going to need another great atmosphere. It was special there Saturday, and we know that. We got to have a big impact on that here, this weekend, and definitely excited to be able to get back into Oak Campbell and go compete, against a talented Syracuse team that's coming off of a couple losses, but as they showed throughout the beginning part of the season, this is a very explosive team, and they're going to attack in all that they do. Got a very experienced quarterback. They definitely present challenges with how he plays with his arms and his leg, or with his arm and his legs. Definitely we've seen him those last few years, and he's a really, really good player. He's got good skill around him. Defensively. Coach Long's new defensive coordinator. He's a legend in this business, and he's as good as they come when it comes to the aggressive approach and how to attack. They're going to show you every front, every blitz. You got to do a wonderful job playing discipline, playing with your eyes, being able to respond to whatever he's going to throw at you. So we got our hands full for the week of preparation, but I'm definitely excited to see our guys continue to grow and go compete.
Morning, Mike. Just wondering, Johnny Wilson, any update with regards to him leaving the game?
Yeah, it's going to be something that we see as we go throughout the course of the week. Johnny was feeling better yesterday, and so we're excited to, about where we think it can go. But ultimately, it was you take it day by day this week, and I thought he did a wonderful job there in the first half, on Saturday, and really has taken his game to another level, and just in how he played and what he's been able to do. So hopeful to be able to get him back rolling here early in the week.
When was Keon an effective blocker when he came here, or is that something he's worked on since he's been here?
You know, I think he embraces, being a complete player. And, it's, he's shown moments of the willingness, but I mean, taking that ownership is something that I'm proud of him, for. And, as a receiver, you guys have seen our teams. I mean, it's something that we really harp on, and I think Coach Dugan does a great job of building that mentality into the room. And, guys embrace that. And, Keon's was a great example of that, there on Saturday. And I mean, those were huge plays. And, it's usually the difference between a 20-yard run to whatever 65, 85-yard run, just being able to get out there and take care of guys on that next level. And so, I'm proud of all of our all of our guys at receiver. I mean, just how they embrace that work and just that mentality. And then, obviously, it shows great unselfishness. Just being able to go and physically, do your job when it comes to those times.
Syracuse has recorded a lot of sacks as a defense, but it seems like they bring, pressure from a lot of different areas. You guys did have a couple of pass protection issues this past week. Kind of what kind of challenge do they present? No,
I mean, it's going to be a great challenge. And, I mean, this is, you're not going to see a team that brings more variations of pressures, just the different looks from 3 down to 4 down to, I think it'll blitz everybody on the field at some point. I mean, it's, it really does you have to be great with your eyes. You got to be great with your technique. We had a couple slow reactions where we gave up pressures. There the other day. All in all, I think our offensive line's done a great job throughout the course of the season. And being able to protect Jordan and to work to give him time. But the other day we had a few times that we had pressure on them, and it's opportunities for us to see, to learn, and one of them was just a pure. Busting communication of assignment, and that we can't have those in those situations. But there's very correctable things that we can improve upon, and our guys know the sense of urgency, because I mean this week you're going to see it all.
Well, I'm having a chance to watch that game back. What did you see anything that you liked from the offensive line in terms of blocking, especially for the run game, to open up holes for Trey?
Yeah, I mean, I thought they did a great job of at the point of contact, of being physical, of being able to create space is one of the things we knew, because last week's opponent, I mean, they were their defensive front, I mean, they were athletic, and I mean, they were going to try to penetrate with different movements. You saw a week prior of how effective they were in that, and we knew that we had to try to do a great job of creating the space when we had it, and make sure that we were playing with our eyes and not behind on blocks. And I thought our guys really did a nice job with that. They embraced that challenge, and gave Trey some great running room to be able to get to the next level, and that's what allowed the receivers to have those impactful moments. And obviously Trey took care of the rest. And I thought LT did a wonderful job. A couple big runs. His touchdown run was as good as you'll see, just a way to finish. But I thought he ran tough, and physical throughout the day, and so I really liked what the O-line did, and being able to present some of those holes.
I have 2 quick ones. First, Conrad Hussey, what has he shown you as a freshman? What can Saturday do for him as he's continuing to build? And secondly, Syracuse offensively, Schrader's obviously well known, but their personnel seems a little different than you guys have faced the last couple of years.
Yeah, Conrad, being able to come in, and we talked about him last week, and he was coming off of really two weeks of the bye week and last week's practice, where he'd take some really positive steps. We knew we were going to get him in. We wanted to make sure that we got the chance to see him in that space, and I thought he played confident in it. And there were obviously some things. As a true freshman, you get out there, it starts moving fast, and there was a few things that he's going to have to improve upon. But what I loved was there was no hesitation. When it came to when he saw the ball, when he got a chance to go and attack. I mean, he definitely did that. Threw his body around, had the big hit on the swing play. And obviously be able to create the takeaway there late was big. And I think that's just going to continue to build his confidence. And it's just refining the details, making sure he's on point with in all areas of what he can do and how he can continue to get better. But I'm gonna we feel really good about where he's going to be going just as a player and as he continues to mature in the defense and all things we're asking him to do. When you look at Syracuse, they have had a injury. The Gadsden, the tight end. Obviously he's out for the year. He was a great player, but you look at them and they've got great size, guys that when you look outside at the receiver position, guys that have wonderful body control, ball skills. They definitely can present challenges. Some guys that have great long speed. If you let them out and let them get going, they can really stretch the field vertical. They're going to be very balanced in what they do in the run game. Can attack you a lot of different ways. Their running backs catch the ball well out of the backfield, and then Rader is just he's such a challenge. 2 years ago when he came here, I think it was one of his first starts there at Syracuse. He's running just a bootleg, and he's got 250-pound guys bouncing off of him, and had some really explosive runs in that game. And then obviously you look at the course of work that he's done over the last couple of years. He's a very talented player and can do a lot of great things with his arm. And if you account for everybody in the passing game and don't have eyes and a body on him, definitely make you pay as a runner.
An emphasis going into the week was the third downs. You guys started 5 of 5 and they scored 3 touchdowns on third downs. Was that the response you wanted to see on third downs?
No, absolutely, and something that we want to make sure that every opportunity we get to convert, we want to convert. And some of those times it might be a third down, that gets to a 4th and short and puts us in a position. We had I know the 4th down conversion there with Jordan. It's about continuing to move the chains, and we talked about trying to have to keep possession of the ball, to be able to control the clock a little bit. You saw that in the first quarter. I thought we did an outstanding job of it. Defense got 3 straight 3-and-outs. Offense was able to put together some drives. In the second half, didn't really show up as much on that because we had the explosive plays. A 2-play drive, I think a 1-play drive. So you're not going to get. I like those too, but I thought our guys did a good job of preparing for the third down situations and being able to execute in those moments.
Hey, Coach, can you talk a little bit about the 2-point play? Was that a call that you guys were planning on doing throughout the week, or was it just you guys saw a look and executed from there?
It's something that we actually practiced and prepare for, and we had a look that we thought could put us in a decent number count, and they defended it pretty well. Got a secondary late pressure. We had a lot of space with Brian. I thought Brian, that was a really tough run. We knew we would try to gain leverage. We did have a pass option off of it. If it presented itself, but as he got leverage, he did a great job of being a lower his shoulder and finishing the end zone. Brian's a high school quarterback, so it's pretty heavy in the quarterback run game. Coming out, so I felt pretty confident when I saw him getting those legs moving that he would find it in the end zone. And he did.
Jaheim, I know didn't play a ton in that game Saturday, so I don't know what went into that. But how do you see Kyle and Marquiston kind of take advantage of that, and just how the benefit of having 3 guys like that you trust to go out there?
And Jaheim, I'm gonna get first off. He was banged up last week and was very limited, in practice, and I appreciate him and just how he was able to prepare to make himself available. We knew he's going to be a very limited snap count. He did. I think he played maybe 7 plays in the game, but being able to get himself to where he could go out there and play, I respected just the work that he put in, and getting rehab, doing all that he could at practice. But we knew he was going to be limited, and Kyle, I think Kyle's just continuing to get better. I'm so excited about the growth I've seen from him. I think he had 4 catches. Was able to do a lot of good things as a blocker. You saw, he had a couple blocks with great finishes. Being able to create that space that we were talking about earlier. Marquiston, some good things. I think he's continuing to grow as a player and just his consistency, and being able to have that core of guys that can attack at the tight end position. It really opens up so many doors for us in what we can do, not only in the passing game but also in the running game. Creating gaps, creating leverage, different angles to be able to attack with, and it was definitely a good thing to see those guys continue to grow.
Was the plan going in to maybe have Jordan run a little more than he had? And then also on his runs, something I was just curious about, there's been a couple of times where he's ducked down really quickly, and he's been hit in the head, including that game where the kid got kicked out of the game. Is that what y'all want him to do? Is that something spur of the moment? You just don't see a lot of quarterbacks, I guess, duck down quite as quickly in traffic like
yeah,
he
I mean,
does.
you know, for Jordan, I mean, we had options, say, like in that game, just like we have in most games, for the potential of him to be able to run, and you know those things presented themselves a few times. You know, Jordan is definitely a dynamic runner. You know, as he gets in space, you can make people miss. I mean, you saw that show up even a few times yesterday. You know, but as things are converging down on him, I'm not trying to see how many times he can go try to maybe run over people. So you go get what you can get down, go to the next play. It's still forcing the defense to have to account for him. And you know, when you get that, you know, then you see, you know, with that possibility, and you know, because if they don't have somebody on them, it's, you know, I think we've all seen over the years just what he can do in open field and open space. But when you have teams that have to now account for him, I mean, it takes one less hat away from, you know, from Trey or the running backs or different things that we're doing there. And so I'm really pleased with you know, how he's managed the game. I thought he was extremely efficient there the other day. You know, I'm you know, as in the run game and the passing game, and I mean, he's playing at such a high level. I mean, just you're excited about you know, what he's doing. But yeah, we're not. I tell him if he gets going and he's got multiple guys converging down on him, go ahead and you know get to the next play. You already gained positive yards. Let's get to the next one, and you know, let's not take any, you know, unnecessary shots.
Just want to check on a couple other guys that we didn't see much of Saturday. Obviously, Bless didn't play, and Tatum wasn't available much. And then how Robert Scott came out of that game.
Yeah, Robert came out, you know, it was his first extensive action. You know, I think he played maybe 12 plays in the LSU game. You know, he came out of the game better than what we even thought he would. So, I mean, that's going to be really good for him here moving forward. You know, I expect, and I liked what we saw. We were able to kind of use a little bit of a three-man rotation there. I thought Darius played at a very high level, you know, there on Saturday. You know, Jeremiah Byers is continuing to grow, continuing to build confidence. But I liked being able to play all three of those guys. You know, Bless was unavailable for the game. We'll see how he you know, progresses throughout the course of this week to see his availability for Saturday. And then Tatum was you know, he was close, and you know, he got banged up a little bit the week prior, and he was available. You know, but we were you know, it was one of those situations where, you know, it could have had a small number count, but you know, if we could avoid from having to play him, I mean, then you know, I thought we were going to be in a good shape, and we were able to do that. And I thought you know Omar Graham, you know, obviously DJ and Kalen did a great job, but Omar Graham, Blake Nicholson got some good work, you know, in Tatum's you know, absence, but you know, we're very confident that he'll be back and rolling this week.
Coach, I was going to ask the same question, but I have a follow-up instead. Can you talk about what that means to a person like Nicholson or even Graham, who's still really young, to be able to get in and play when the game is consequential?
Yeah. I think it's huge. You know, I think it was Saturday I was asked a question about those guys. You know, the plan to get them in. I'm not going to put anybody on the field that we don't believe can go out there and execute and play at a very high level. I mean, there's just too much work and too much investment that's gone in. You know, over the years and so when guys get on that field, there's a responsibility that they have, and there needs to be a sense of urgency for everything that they're doing and how they prepare and how they communicate, you know, and the overall execution when the ball is snapped. And to see those guys earn those opportunities, I'm really proud of. You know, we've had, you know, I think it was 3 or 4 different, you know, true freshmen there the other day that, you know, that made impactful plays and impactful moments, and you like seeing that. You like seeing those guys, you know, get the experience. It wasn't always right in what they did or their technique or their fundamentals, but you see, and then you get to address, all right, well, why? How do you get this better? And then, you know, their ownership of applying those lessons and to be able to continue to grow through the process. But you know that experience is. I mean, it's invaluable for what it's going to mean for their future, but it's also, I mean, when they're out there, you got the same responsibility of a fifth-year senior that's been here. I mean, you got to go play at an elite level, and you know, it's what makes it challenging, but it's also forces the maturity for how they need to prepare and what they need to do.
I guess I don't know if either of them recorded a catch, but they seem to both play a decent amount, Ja'Kai and Kentron getting back. I guess the timing of that seems pretty good. I guess with building the depth in that room with I know questions in the week coming about Johnny, about Jaheim, and obviously the Winston Wright news last night.
Yeah, you know, I was really pleased. You know, Kentron probably had as good a spring as anybody that we had. I mean, he was you know, just so much confidence building, and it was unfortunate you had the injury there in fall camp that he's really unavailable for here the early part of the season. But seeing him get back, and he when he got in there, he played fast. Especially when Johnny went down, like I said, didn't record a catch, but I mean he showed the burst and the route running that it was good to see. Blocked really well. Jakai had a couple missed opportunities. There in the game, but what I loved getting him back out in practice last week. You saw the explosiveness, you saw the playmaking ability. Now getting building back that confidence there. On game day, it's great. Destin Hill, made a huge play, great catch there on a wheel route there. He's continuing to get better in all the things that we're asking him to do, and seeing that depth in that room. A lot of guys that that have played meaningful snaps that are there, able to contribute, and also seeing us be able to spread the ball around. I mean, it was I don't remember the exact numbers, 8, 9 guys that recorded a catch in the game. I think Jordan's doing a good job when it comes to that, and just continuing to build that timing, the confidence in all those guys. It's definitely great things for this offense.
Coach, are you able to kind of characterize Winston's decision to leave the program? Did it catch you by surprise? Was it something you guys have been talking about?
No, I mean, it's, everybody's got, you get one chance going through this journey. And, Winston, I mean, I love him. He's a great young man. Wish him all the best in his future. He's been through challenging situations. I mean, obviously what he went through last year, it was hard. Man, it was hard for everybody. I mean, having to see him, just the ebb and flow of rehabbing to get back, and it doesn't go necessarily how you want, but ultimately it's he was back, he was working, and continuing to build to increase a role, and as we move forward, that's all I ever tell all of our players. Right, I mean, this is very competitive. I mean, you're here at Florida State. I mean, every day is going to be, it's going to be a challenge. You're going to get pushed. You're going to, and all I ask is that, whatever your situation, whatever the circumstance is, you just go pour it all into it. And Winston has got a great future in front of him. He's going to be, whatever decision he makes, whether it's to continue on. I think he's got another year eligibility that he could utilize, and I'm going to cheer for that kid forever. And it's just. We support him as he makes decisions, but if no matter where you are, if you can't put all into it, or there's other things that are going on, then I support him in whatever they choose to do. But he was I'll forever love that young man for the journey he's been on, and just who he is.
I don't know how much control head coaches have in their schedules, their non-conference schedules. In football, it seems like some other sports maybe more so. Would you prefer to not have the first month of the season you guys had this year? And in terms of, like, you see some other schools that get basically a month to kind of, or 2 or 3 weeks to kind of work into their tougher games. And what challenges does that present when you have a first month like you guys did this year?
Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, it's a, to come out the gate and playing on a national stage, obviously that spotlight, with there's a lot of benefits that come to it, and just the way that you have to prepare through the off season. We've already played 3 conference games. We got a stretch here, just really the dynamic of 2 non-conference games to start, 2 non-conference to end, and when you get in the mix of it, it is. You got to roll, and especially this year, not having divisions. There's no week that you can't slip. You got to bring it every week. Every week you still find out things about your team throughout that journey. But there's no question the schedule that we had. It challenged us early, which I do think builds confidence, and especially starting off 4-0, or how it was there in the month of September. It built some confidence of some of the things that we could overcome. But on the flip side of it, you're still a work in progress, and we're still on that journey right now of working to get better. And I think every team is different. Every team has their own dynamics, and to start off with the schedule that we did, it's definitely hardened our football team. And as we've we know that we've got great talent, we've got great ability, but there's the growth that's in front of us can really take us to another level, because we've had to do it against good people. And you know, I'm excited about where this team and how this team works. Last night's practice, you know, coming off the win on Saturday, I mean, there was a definite sense of urgency. And you know, we want to fight for our improvement every day in what we're doing. And you know, now you're in the conference late, and there's, you know, you got a 4-2 Syracuse team that's coming in here that's gonna give us everything that they have. And you know, ultimately, you know, we have all respect for them, but it's not about them. It's about us. It's about what we do. It's about how we execute. It's about how we play. And you know, I think our guys are buying into, you know, that process of just getting better. And you know, it's been the same message regardless who it was that showed up as our opponent. And you know, I think our guys are handling that well, but continuing to improve. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
You too.
There was a lot of talk about the running game being a focus during the bye week, and then to do what you guys did.
Yeah.
Were there many changes during the bye week, or was it mostly just getting better at what you guys did?
Well, no, not changes, but we got to be an offense that whatever the defense allows us to do, we got to be able to do, whether that be running or passing. And I would say we just focused on what we did well, and because it wasn't like a significant amount of carries difference. Trey just had more yardage and LT and those guys and Rodney, so it was more just focusing on what we can do, giving them a focused assignment and working on what we're going to call. And Trey did a good job. Receivers did a good job on the edges. I mean, just focusing on whatever they're allowing or giving up, we got to be able to do it no matter what part of it is. And I think that's just been the growth of our offense, because at one point, if one of those things didn't go, we lost. And now we're being able to find those at space and yardage wherever it need be. But it was good to see Trey get going. But you remember from the past, I never had any worry that it was going to be fine as we kept getting better toward the season.
the rotating of the guys up front, that was something you guys obviously planned going to the season. How much of it is a present moment, this certain game, this certain situation? How much of it is planning for the future, just having guys ready throughout the course of the season where you don't have any more off weeks left and you got to grind out some wins?
All of it is. You know, I don't like. You know, we got some guys that can go in there and help us win games, and I don't want to limit just because of just numbers. So we have more than 5 that can help us win games, and also the matchups do come into account sometimes. But health, you know, I believed I had 8 guys that can go in a game and help us win a game, and I didn't want to limit them and say, well, you got to beat that guy out. No, man, I can get you in there in certain situations that can help us out, and also continue to build that depth. But no, it's already pre-planned when we go. And it was good to get Rob back out there. We had him on a play count, but you know, not just one factor in determining when I rotate the O-line.
Trey had obviously a good day running, but he credited the offensive line, but also Keon Coleman had some key blocks. What did you see in the blocking that worked so well that maybe has not been working in previous games?
Yeah, well, Keon, he was at the point of attack of a lot of the long runs, which you know, we want to give him credit because he takes ownership in that too. And Johnny, who loves to block, and all those guys, man. Even you know, we gave Ja'Kai at the point of attack on the slip screens. You know, the first play of the game when we threw it to the tight end, he had to have 2 wonderful blocks on the perimeter. That's how we started the game. I mean, you got to be a complete receiver, and that's what we talked about with Keon. I mean, he can do it all, you know, and we don't have to limit when he's at the point of attack on a run or catching or anything like that. But I don't think there was a significant difference of what we did or how we executed it. Guys are getting better as the season goes, which you have to do that. You have to use the practices during the season to keep improving, but also, you know, Trey's fast. I mean, once he get out in the open, if we can get him cleared to the second level, he can go.
Jordan mentioned on Saturday that one of the biggest focuses for you guys has been playing consistently and, you know, carrying momentum throughout the game. You know, the first quarter that you guys had, you know, really strong, and then, you know, into the second and into the third. You know, what's key in making sure that you guys are, you know, working towards playing, you know, that complete game?
Yeah, I mean, he's a real conference opponent, so we always talk about even before the game. There's always going to be a shift in momentum. There's always going to be that they make a play or we make a mistake, or a lot of the drives we start on, we got a holding or a false start or a snap infraction with Mo. So it was more of like, all right, these things are going to happen. How's you going to be your response? But the constant pursuit of that perfect game is what keeps the standard, not basing it off the result. And that's always been the expectation of with us from Coach Norvell. So we're always going to have that high pursuit of that perfect game, and then we'll come back and say, well, it ain't never going to be perfect. But we're always going to choose our best, and whatever the result is after our best, we're fine with those results. But nah, I mean, you know, we're looking to either respond to adversity, play our best game, make sure the standard is the standard, because that keeps the expectations of what we need to be in this program.
There was a play, first or second drive, 3rd and 11, where he hits Morlock probably 4 yards short of the line, but it looks like Jordan throws to the shoulder to turn him away from the sideline, knowing that he had room there. Yep. Is that what he did, and is that the details that maybe these veteran, really good quarterbacks do that maybe other quarterbacks don't? Like, he sees that if he throws it, if he leads Morlock, he's leading him out of bounds. So he throws it a little bit behind him to make him turn and get the first down.
Yeah, Jordan can locate the ball, and he understands coverage. He understands when it's good to take the sack. I mean, because he's done a great job of protecting the football beyond that. But no, I think he was rolling to the left on that play, which is always difficult with a quarterback who's right-handed. But he's able to still throw an accurate and lead the ball to the receiver, and also take what the defense was giving him in a long yardage situation. Now, we have a system where we know if we're going to go or not, and we know we let him know what's the situation, whether we're going to go for it on 4th down and things of that sort when we talk about sequencing. But no, man, Jordan is smart. He can locate the football. He understands when, you know, we always talk about we want to end the drive with the score or a kick. Sometimes protecting, like if they come off, let's say we not score, we say good job owning the football that we didn't turn it over. I mean, he understands all of that, man. He's played a lot of football, so, man, locating the football, understanding the situation, knowing we're going to sequence the calls, understanding not to make a bad play a bad day. And sometimes that's not seen because you're like, oh, why he did this? Like, no, I mean, I'm glad he did that. Sometimes a punt ain't a bad play, but no, Jordan can do it.
I feel like we ask you about him every week, but Darius stepping in at left tackle with Bless out. I know he's struggled some at left tackle, some in the past. I mean, it seemed like there was no problem at all, and then even hopping over to right tackle. I mean, what's it say about him? I mean, we've talked about how he plays every position or can play every position, but it seems like he's this year played 3 positions at a pretty high level for you.
Yeah, man, I trust Darius, man, to go in there and operate however he need be. And he's a staple in our room because I get to use him as an example of a guy that can go in any place it's needed and understand the game plan and still go execute at a high level. He's always still in constant competition. He's a part of the rotation too, because we've built a unit where, you know, it's the unit playing the game, not just these individuals on the field. We're trying to go beat you with the O-line room instead of just 2 O-linemen and that sort. So he understands that and he embodies that. So with him understanding that with those older guys like Rob and Mo and of course Darius, who are like the foundation of the room, if they're in there unselfish, understand what has to be the standard and things like that, when other people come in, that just sets the stage for it. But now Darius is a good player. He can play all 5 positions. I'm glad we got him. He can rotate at all 5, which gives us depth within depth, and we fully trust him when he's out there.
Coach Norvell said that Syracuse's defense could bring pressure from basically any spot on the field. When teams are like that, how do you prepare for that? Like, what are the keys, or how do you prepare? There's not necessarily a normal game plan.
No, I mean, first it's still, dictating what you want to do. We still want to be who we are and do what we do. We just want to make sure we're not putting our kids in a bad situation based upon what they do on defense. But, I mean, the last years we played Syracuse, they've been pretty consistent in causing a lot of chaos. I mean, they're top 10 in the country in tackle for loss because they can confront so many twists and different pressures and keep you on your edge. I mean, they want to dictate to you what they want you to do. And we got to find that balance of not putting our guys in a bad situation, but also not taking ourselves at what we do well. And we got to find that. I mean, it's still early in the game plan. We're still searching for those answers. But, that's the balance of it. But they do a phenomenal job of dictating and make sure you can't tell what they're doing. They don't give away tips. So, I mean, it's going to be a unique challenge, but, we got to make sure we have our identity on display also.
You said last week, I think you did say it, you want to go maybe a little bit faster, a little more up-tempo. The first half especially, and it's hard to go up-tempo when you hit a 63-yard run and an 85-yard run, granted, but did you like the tempo and the amount of plays and the amount of execution that started those first 3, just how quick it was going?
Yeah, good coaches always say that, to play with tempo is earned. You got to be able to get some chunk yardage or some first downs to be able to call tempo plays. And if you're not doing that, you're not going to be able to play with tempo. So what I wanted to maybe refer to is we have to earn the right to do that. We got to have some efficiency on first down, some efficiency. We have to convert on third down. So that shows our percentage on third down conversions helped us play faster because we had more opportunities to tempo and keep our guys on the field and maybe dictate some plays. So as we continue to get efficient with early down success, and also, once we get past the scripted plays and things like that, we have to earn that right. And I thought guys did a better job of earning that so we could play with some tempo and keep some guys out there. But, I mean, Game 5, we got to continue to get better. All of these games are, continual process to find that best game or to just continue to fight to get better. And I believe our guys are doing that. We're getting better as we go.
Continuing on what Ira asked you about Rocky Long defense, what does he do differently than Syracuse has done in the past? Also, anybody in their personnel that just flashes on film and stands out to you?
Rocky is the inventor of this defense. I mean, he established it. So, everybody else do a good job, but he is he's not a cardman. He is the one. He is the originator. So he understands the problems. He knows how to, there's nothing you really can show him that he hadn't seen or had an answer for. So we got to be efficient and on time. But no, it's not a garbage defense. The people think they're just doing everything. No, it's very planned and coordinated, and they're understanding with back alignment, tight ends, and things of this sort now. So if you look at it, it can be, oh, man, they're everywhere. But no, it's calculated, and it's coached, and it's coordinated. So we got to do a good job of making sure we're not, giving up any tackles for loss and being on point and being efficient on early downs and also on third downs because they're getting a lot of sacks too. So we got to be on point.
On that 2-point conversion by Courtney, how much, as the offensive coordinator, how much say do you get when you guys get to go for 2, and then what did you see on the play? And obviously, Coach mentioned you guys practiced it and were ready for that situation. What did you see on that play to make it work?
That's my guy JP, man. He does a wonderful job with the special teams, and Coach Norvell also has his hand in it because he has to decide whether we're going to do it or not. But all of those things, man, they seem so unique. But like Coach said, we run them every day. I mean, we have so many of those type of deals that we install and have ready because you never know, especially with the rules and overtime with all the 2-point plays and different things, and you got to be ready for all situations. So we had the utmost confidence, and when it was very similar to Oklahoma when we had the 2-point conversion versus them with the field goal team. So, we have a bunch of that stuff stored up, and we don't want to make those unique or trick plays. We want to make those regular plays. So we practice them a ton. And so we got quite a few in the tank if we need them.
I know identity is one of those buzzwords when it comes to what this offense is, what you guys could be. I think through 4 games, you guys quite literally run the same amount of running plays as you did pass plays. This past weekend, you guys ran kind of out of nowhere. Is the fact that can your identity be that you don't have one and it just seemingly you're going to figure out a way every Saturday just to make it work?
Yeah. Well, I would say that it's we can do what needs to be done to have good offense. And in the past, I don't know if I could have came up here and said the same thing, but if we need to throw the ball, we can. If we need to run it, we will. If Jordan needs to create, he will. I was talking to Johnny. I would have never guessed that Game 5 would be his first touchdown catch. I would have never guessed that this season, but that's the unique part of having the weapons we have, the uniqueness. Whenever the ball is going to one other person, somebody else is not getting it who's also a special and dynamic player. So, we try to pride ourselves in our identity, meaning whatever we need to be done, we have the athletes to do it. And our identity is also going to be, we always want to establish the run, but we also want to say, hey, if this is not working, we're not going to just give in. We want to make sure we got dynamic playmakers on the edge. We got them in the middle. With Jaheim, who had big games, and Morlock, this game was a big key piece to us. We hadn't said his name in Trey. So it's the whatever needs to be done, we got the skilled players to do it.
Coach, you have some moments of absolute explosiveness on offense, and then almost immediately it can go quiet for a while.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you've done a lot of analysis of that. Throughout the season, have you determined anything that is a cause or things you're working on to be able to perform at a more consistent level?
Absolutely. It goes back to what I talked about earning a right to play with tempo, because we looked at our play counts during the bye week and we wanted to get that play up. That comes from converting on third down. That's a direct reflection of how we convert on third down, our early down, first and second down success, and also penalties. This was the first game we had as many false starts as we had with snap infractions, holding calls on big runs, which limit you and things like that. So I think this particular game came down to every drive we stalled or didn't do, there was a penalty involved. And we went backwards and got us off clock and maybe, didn't convert an explosive and things like that, so we couldn't sequence. And so there's many other factors, but it's all self-inflicted. And so we have to study, if we're not converting on third down, if we're getting penalties, man, we can become one of the worst offenses in America very quickly. So we have to make sure we understand that, we're explosive, but we got to be on point.
You talked about Kyle Morlock. I know Coach said Jaheim was a little limited, kind of able to only play a couple plays for you Saturday, but it seemed like Kyle and even Marquise really took advantage of that. I guess what's the benefit of having a tight end room that deep?
Absolutely. And Jaheim, he ain't never limited, but we do a good job of protecting players from themselves. And sometimes that's a little bit of a battle because they all have that itch when they're on the sideline. Everybody wants to do it, but, we got to make sure we have enough where you don't have to go out there and further hurt yourself. So you'll be fine, But no, Cal, first play of the game. He was the first target of it, and then we had a screen to Marquise, who did a really good job on it. So, and those guys have done it in games before. I'm going back and watching old games. Marquise has made some big plays in his program. The winning touchdown against Oklahoma. He's made some really good plays. I've seen Cal do it in practice multiple times, so we trust him. And you still got Preston Daniels, who's done a really good job of making plays. Even I remember a play popped up against North Carolina when he had a first down conversion in 2020. We got some guys that can do it. So I like to have those good offense problems. When I say good offense problems, that means there's always somebody left out. There's always somebody that can get performed. But in-house, in our own network, we understand that, man, it could be anybody's day. And make sure you're supporting your teammates. But that tight end room is really, really good. And I even look toward the future. I'm looking at those guys. We had the young guy scrimmage on Sunday, and those young guys are showing up with Jackson West being able to get back healthy and Powers and Jarrell and those guys. I'm excited for that room.
Okay. Thanks, Coach.
Thank y'all.
just his play. It's always been there. We're just looking for a little bit more consistency with how that looked. I thought he followed up with a good week of prep for Virginia Tech, and so, sat down with Coach Surtain, we talked, and we knew we were going to get him in early. Even with the return of Akeem, it's still about each individual, and obviously there's got to be opportunities, and he earned one, and so he went in there, and he's been doing some good things on special teams, but he really went in there and made an impact on defense, and so we got to continue to develop him, continue to grow him, but the greatest reward is the opportunity to do more, and he continues to raise his play and his preparation, and those opportunities will continue to come. So I was proud of him to go in there, and excited to see his family after the game, see him have success. Yeah, Blake, Tatum had kind of a slow week, just coming off that last game, and it was going to be kind of game time, how much he'd be able to give us. And so, Blake is another one. We feel really confident about what it's going to look like for him. With Tatum's reps being really limited and really down on defense, to be honest with you. We knew Omar's reps would go up. DJ and Kalen's reps would pretty much stay similar. And then we would just have to eat some of those reps, and Blake was the next man up. I think you can't replicate experience, especially out there, especially in real time, and so, so I think we'll continue to see Blake in that development. He's actually shown up on special teams in a really good way. He's done some good things in kickoff cover, and just continue to build things off of what Blake gave us.
Syracuse offensive skill and talent, obviously very familiar with Garrett Schrader. You guys have played him a lot, but some of the other guys are somewhat new faces, it seems like.
Yeah, it is. Chris, we've the last 3 years we played Syracuse, so we know Schrader really well. We've played against him 3 years in a row, and he's an ultra competitor, obviously big body, really good athlete. Has played a lot of good football in our league now for multiple years. There's two of the offensive linemen we played against last year. The back was really the backup for Tucker, so obviously he didn't get as much. But definitely a team we're familiar with. I know their offense coordinator moved on last year, but I think the guy that's calling plays now, and obviously Coach Babers is probably very involved. So there's a lot of similarities. You just try to peel through what's new, what's the same. But when they have a quarterback back there, and they do have a talented group of skilled players, and looking forward to diving into this week. And it's good having history with them because you can go back. But kind of new year, new teams, and looking forward to that. What the plan's going to be.
I'll just be the officials guy this week. What did Byron Turner do wrong? I assume it looked like he hit the quarterback just like Kalen hit Clemson's quarterback, other than he didn't have the ball, but it was almost instantaneous after he got rid of the ball. What did he do wrong in that instance? And second part, is that one of the craziest interceptions you've ever seen just from a pure athletic standpoint?
First question. So with Byron, I'm an emotional person myself, but Mike deals with the officials, and thank goodness he does. I try to just go to the next play, and I think we have an interception, and I start hearing it's going to be reviewed, so I just think AZ might have stepped out of bounds. So I'm trying to get them back to go back on the field. And when I heard it was a late hit, I don't really look too much at it, because there's not much I'm going to do about it. Obviously, I had a chance to kind of watch it post game, and I'm just coaching Byron to continue to play hard, because I thought he did, and there was some wasted footwork early in the play, but just how we went and how we made a play, and I thought he did everything he was supposed to do on that play, and Aurier, he did a great job in the line of scrimmage, kind of funneled the guy out of bounds, and zone turned up, and just an incredible play. But Aurier's got that in him. There's a reason we use him in the way we do, and dime and at corner, and he's definitely got that ability. It wasn't shocking to see him make that play. I've seen him make those catches before. Just wish it could have counted.
When you talk about Conrad and his ability, he didn't get a spring, and I think he was limited a little bit during the fall camp. So what makes a guy like that available? It's not just athletic ability. What makes a guy like that be able to earn playing time this quickly?
I think as they go, just the consistency, because we're trying to make practice as game-like as possible. That's the only chance to have a chance, because the emotions on game day and the environment, up the emotions, and you're trying to create that intensity constantly, whether it's a Thursday walkthrough, whether it's a Friday pregame meeting. You're always trying to put them in the moment. Conrad, just like any player that comes in the program, there's an adjustment that needs to go. I mean, the language changes, the expectations change, techniques, all those things. And so, he needed time and he needed reps. And, part of that building is him gaining trust with his teammates, him gaining experience. And, as a coach, when you say these are the steps you need to do in order for you to have more opportunities, well, when they do that, I'm going to be to my word, and we're going to give them those opportunities. And we do them because that's the process of improvement that we know it's going to take for him to go in the game. And it's our job, even if he goes out there and doesn't have success, which he did, if he's doing everything right, we're going to continue to invest in that and give him opportunities, whether that's in the kick game or whether it's on defense. And, I just think, it's hard when you don't come in the spring because you miss all that time. But, we've had it done before. Guys have been able to come in, and some guys matriculate a little bit quicker than others. Everybody's on their own journey, as we say. But I think Conrad continues to do what he's been doing. I think we'll see more of that type of play.
If I could follow up on, so the play where he comes up on the swing pass, is that, it looked special to us, but like, is that routine? Is that just what he should be doing, or was there something special about that?
I mean, it was part of the work that he need, like that was him and Kalen's play to make. There was going to be one blocker, and who that guy blocked was kind of up to him. But they both had the key work to trigger and go make the play based off how it all played out with the back and the screen and all that stuff. So what I love about him is he never broke stride, and he took as much grass as possible, and he took straight, direct lines and finished in a legal way and in a violent way. So, it was a really good play. Looked good, didn't it? Thanks, guys. See you guys.
On the kick return, was it a situation where like one or two things happened wrong, or was it several things that went wrong?
I would say this on the kick return. First of all, I would give credit to Virginia Tech for their execution, how they schemed it up. I thought they did a good job, and then they executed it well. But from our perspective, a couple things went into it that normally, at any return like that, normally do. For one, we've been really good on kick cover, and part of that reason we are is we kind of tweak it from week to week. And, it's one of those things where in hindsight, looking back at it, the tweak that we made this past week, I don't know that I would do it again, given the fact that they ran that field return. And then we had some guys that had a chance to be in position to make a play, and we didn't make it. But all in all, obviously, start with crediting them for doing a good job. But there's some things that we need to clean up on our end, and it starts with me and making sure that we put ourselves in the best positions possible to be successful in those.
Defensive end play as a whole, Jared broke through statistically speaking. Patrick piled another good game on top, but Byron also seems to be playing good ball. And Gilbert, was that the best game he's played in his time here?
Yeah, I thought that was the best game Gilbert has played since he's been here. And, I was really pleased with really how all four guys played. You said it. Jared was able to make some impact plays. I think that was good for him and for all of us. But, I know he also felt some internal pressure probably to get that production, get those sacks. And I'm glad for him that he was able to do that. And now I hope that he can kind of take a deep breath and focus going forward, because, you know, it's one of those things where I think at the end of the year, statistically, he's going to be right where he wants to be. I would assume that that's probably not going to be the last time we see him have production like that. And, you know, it's all going to shake itself out. And I just want him to continue to play hard and you know, do the things that he has been doing leading up into the game. Thought Pat played well. Pat plays really hard. And sometimes, you know, I've said this in here before, he does things that go unnoticed or maybe unseen, but the way he plays within the defense is really critical for us. And you know, I thought Byron probably played one of his best all-around games since he's been here. So I was pleased with how those guys played, and we need to build on that and get better going forward.
On that 2-point play, obviously you guys practiced that a lot. What was the thought of doing that right there in that situation?
You know, it's something we always have a gate ready. And typically if we score first and it's early in the game, it might be something that we show. Sometimes coach wants to run it. Sometimes we shift back to our normal PAT. But in this case, just the look that was presented, you know, it's really coach's final decision. You know, he makes the call on the field whether we're going to run it or not run it. The look was there that we wanted, and we went ahead and took advantage of it. And those are things that might be subtle, but that we like to do within the program from week to week, is to continue to make people work at everything. If we score a touchdown, it's not the assumption that it's just going to be the traditional PAT, but we might have something else. And we want to force our opponents to have to work hard to defend us in all ways.
Keon, it was good. I'm sure it was good to see him kind of get loose a little bit on a return. It still seems like some balls are landing. Is that because the way punters are punting? Is that something they're doing intentionally, or does he need to be more aggressive?
You know, I think I really thought his decision making this past game was really pretty good. You know, we have going into a game based on punters' averages and hang time and how far they've been kicking the ball going into it. We have certain landmarks that we align him on. And one thing that we talk about with him every week is we want you to field all kicks. But if you don't feel like you can get there, don't try to be a hero in the moment and make a poor decision. And there's a lot of trust that goes from coach to player, and then also player to coach, in terms of, I trust Keon. You know, I think he's going to make what he feels like is the best decision in the moment. And if there's times we feel like we need to coach him on, hey, next time that shows up, this is what we'd like to do. But, you know, I really thought his decision-making in the game the other day was really, really good. And I have a lot of trust, faith, and confidence in you know, how he handles himself back there.
It's almost understood at this point, or maybe even taken for granted a little bit, but Mastromanno's having, it seems like, an incredible year. He's 5th in the country in punting. He had some bombs in this one, too. I guess just, I don't know, man, the development of what he was 2 or 3 years ago to now.
Yeah, you know, I was, you know, first of all, I think our coverage has been terrific, and all of that goes hand in hand. But, you know, C.J. Campbell made a huge play the other day on a punt cover. But, you know, the thing I'm so excited about is, you know, you look at, you know, I try not to get caught up in the statistics, especially this time of year. But for us to be able to lead the ACC right now in net punting is really, really good for us, and for him to have the national accolades that he has. You know, I think obviously that speaks to how well he's hitting the ball. But I think it just shows that he's put a lot of hard work in. He's grown and matured, and I think he's just more comfortable with everything we're asking him to do. But he's really hitting the ball well. I think he's confident in what he's doing. Even our conversations on the sideline are a lot more next level in terms of just his understanding of how he fits within the game. So I just think the experience and the confidence and the gains he's made in the weight room, all that together have combined into him really, really turning into a weapon for us.
Excuse me, Coach Fuller mentioned that Blake has made some plays in the kicking game and impressed. You get a chance a lot of times to see freshmen maybe on the field more than some of the other positions. What have you seen from that group? I know KJ's played some, and some of the other guys as well.
Yeah, you know, I think it's a very talented freshman class. And those guys, for us to be what we want to be, I think we're going to have to feel their impact, especially on special teams. Blake has done a really good job, especially in his kick cover. He's very natural, which is great for a linebacker, obviously, that he has a great sense and feel in terms of how to defeat the blocks that he's getting and then how to track the ball. So I think he, and plus he's so athletic. He runs really, really well. So, I think he's a really good player for us on that unit. KJ Kirkland, I think, can play a big role for us, especially on pump pressure. KJ's really smart, and we put a lot on him in the role that he plays on our pump pressure unit to be a guy that has to make some decisions and checks, and he's handled all that really, really well. Conrad Hussey's been out there for us. And like I said, we have a talented group of young players, and as the season goes on, we're going to need to feel their impact more and more, and especially on the special teams units.
Okay, thanks, JP.
Yep. Thank you, guys.